Yeah, hello all. And till now, we have been developing, we have been writing a separate class, writing a separate class to convert the result set object into the list. So to convert the result set object into the list, we are using a separate class by implementing the any of these two interfaces, OSET extractor or row mapper. So we have been implementing them and extracting the data. So let's say that this is for the one query. So let's say that we have 40 to 50 queries for one table, for a single table. Then let's say that if we have close to 100 tables, then 40 queries into 100 tables, it will be the 400 row mappers or row extracted classes we need to write. So which is very complex to the manage and all those sorts of things. And so what we're going to do is, instead of writing the 400 row mappers or result set mapper, we are going to use the concept known as an anonymous inner class. So when you use anonymous in a class, it's going to reduce reduce the content. It is going to reduce. So we are going to write the class inside the class, which is automatically reduce the number of the classes what we write. Okay. So before that, it is not always recommended to write a separate class, and it's not a good approach. So never write a row set extractor or the mapper as a separate class. Implementing these interfaces, you should not write in separate class. That's the approach. That's the one. So before starting with this, let's talk about what exactly this anonymous in a class is about. So here we have three approaches. So I'm going to talk about each and every different approach. So first of all, let me jump onto the approach one. In the approach one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an interface. Then I'm going to create a class, a separate class, which has a method with the parameters of the interface. Okay. So I'm going to have interface and the other method which has the method with the parameters of the interface. Let me show that. So this is my JdbC template. I'll go here. So this means which means that I already have the Spring JDBC. Let me show you my form.xml. So I already have the Spring JDBC dependencies with me, along with the Spring context. So all those things. So to interact with the OJDBC, I have the OJDBC as the OJDBC or DB2 Oracle driver or the DB2 driver or any other driver. The most of them are proprietary, so we can't directly get them from the Maven repository. So what I have done is I have went to the Oracle website or DB2 website and extracted the drivers from there. Then I have installed them by using the MVN commands, Maven commands, and I installed it into the location. And so these are the things what I have given there. Okay. So that's how I've given the system path. You can see where exactly this the location of the jar file, OJDBC6 jar file. Okay, so that's the thing. So this is the setup. And but app, I'm not interested in this. What I'm going to do is let me copy paste it in somewhere. Okay, what else? What I'll do is let me see what I have here. Okay, right, I got it. Okay, let me refactor it. Name. Okay. Okay, fine. So let me close this and create one package. It's taking time. So let me create a package with the name new package com dot package name must start or end with a blank. I will say plus. Okay. If I finish, so inside it, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to create an interface. So the name of the interface will be the my interface. I'll say finish. So this is my interface. Let me have a few instance variables, a few methods. So I'll say and I'll say, so this way it will be very easy. This is my interface, and this my interface method. Okay, this is my interface and this is my interface method. So I need to implement. So whoever wants to make use of this, whoever want to implement this interface, they must and should override this method and write the implementation for this method. So what I'm going to do is right click and create one more the class. Okay, so this is, let's say that, let me see one. This is not the main method. So this is the method, right? So I'm going to have one method. So this is a C1 method. So inside the C1 method, I'm going to have parameters. So just you need to look very carefully what I'm writing. So this is a C1 class, and this is the C1 method, the method present in the C1. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my interface. So here the parameter needs my parameter, my interface. So it's here the parameter is an interface. That's the point to be noted. So if at all you want to call this method C1, you need to pass the interface. Okay, not any parameters, ordinary parameters. So here, if at all you want to make use of the C1 method, you definitely need to pass the interface. So this looks quite, you know, different from the one what we have been looking at, and of course this is not so complex. So inside this method, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a sysout saying that I'll say so definitely. So what I'm going to do is, so inside this I will have my interface such that I am using the parameter, this value, my interface dot, I'm calling the method. What is the method? My interface method. Let me call this method. So using this value, I'm calling the my interface method. Okay. Okay. So I'm calling the my interface method. So this is one. Let me repeat one more time. So I have created the C1 class and I have created one method, ordinary method. So inside it, I'm passing the interface, not any ordinary parameter. I'm passing directly interface. So this is the interface value. So using this object created, I am calling the method present in the my interface. So I'm calling this method directly. Okay. So that's the thing. And let me jump on to the other. So let me create one more class. Let me create a main method, and I will name it as app. So this is the main method. So let's say that this is what we have. So we have the interface and we have the C1 method which has the interface parameter, interface as a parameter. So let's say that I need to call this C1 method. So we have the three approaches for it. So we need to call the C1 class, C1 method. So to call this, we have three different approaches. So let's discuss the first approach what we have. So this is a requirement. Okay. So requirement is we need to access the C1 class, C1 method. So the first approach is what we need to do is we are going to create an simple class which has an implementation. So I'm going to create some class. Let me name it as some class. I will say implementing class. My okay, implementing class. I will say finish. I'll say implements. What implements? My interface. Let's say that this is implementing my interface. So that is implementing. So that definitely so add unimplemented methods. So this is the method. These are the methods what we have added. So inside it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say sysout. So I'll say this is my interface implementation. Uh, Let me type this. This is my interface implementation, my interface method. Okay, let me name this. Save this. So these are I have provided the implementation because I need to use C1 method. Okay, by passing the implementers. So let me write other. Let me write a main class, new. Let me say it as app. So this is app, and I'm going to have the main method. So inside the main method, so what is my requirement? My requirement is to call the C1 class C1 method. Okay. So to call the C1 method, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an object. Okay. Object for it. So once I get the object, I'm going to I'm going to call the C1 method. Okay. So here I need to pass my interface. Let me say this. My interface. How to pass? How to pass the my interface? How to pass the interface as a parameter there? So we can do it by simply we have created the implementation class, right? This is the implementation class of my interface. So what we are going to do is we are going to copy this class, go to app.java, and we are going to say new of my class implementation class. That's it. That's it. So if you look at, we have four different classes. We are writing four different classes. So these are the classes what we have, the C1 and the interface, and we have written two other separate class. One is the main class, other one is implementation class. So this is the implementation class what we have used, because here we need to pass the interface, right? So first of all, we have created the interface class. I mean the implementation class for the interface, and then we have provided that, and we have provided the implementation class here as an interface, and it's accepting. And let me run and check whether it's going to print the thing present in the my interface. So I have written something message here, the same thing should be printed here. So this is the implementation. So if you look at this thing here, what we are doing is we are creating a separate interface implementation class for it, and then using it as a parameter. So um, which looks um, long and time consuming, and we are writing a separate class for it, implementation class for it. Okay. So instead of it, so this is approach one. So in the approach one, what we are doing is, so the requirement is first of all, so the requirement is So requirement is we have my interface. This is an interface. So we have another class that is known as C1. The C1 is a class. So and it has one method, and that is known as C1 method. So inside the C1 method, we are not just passing any ordinary value. Instead of we are passing the interface. We are directly passing my interface here. Okay. Yes. So that's the thing. So that is the thing. So to pass this, so to pass this, so what we're doing is to pass the this to call the C1 method of the C1, we need to pass definitely we need to pass my interface. So in Approach1, what we are doing is in the Approach1, what we have been trying is so we have created a implementation class of the my interface. Okay, then so then we have created the main method and created object for the C1 class, then called the C1 method by passing the our implementation class. By passing the our implementation class, what so we have created the object for this. We have passed it here, passed it as an object. Okay, that's what we have. That's what we have done. Okay, and this looks little time taking, and we need to write a separate class for it, implementation class. That's a little tricky. So let's jump on to the second approach. Okay, this is the first approach. So let me create this. Not I know this is Approach1. Let me refactor it. Okay. So let me create another package with the name Approach2. Okay, this is Approach2. So I'm going to remove app class. Okay, I'm going to app, and I'm going to remove my interface implementation. So let's say that we have only interface. Let me close it. So let's say that we have only my interface. So let's say this is the interface, and the other C1 method, C1 class with the C1 method with the my interface parameters. So we need to call this method. So Approach1, what we are going to do is we are going to make use of the anonymous inner class. In the Approach3, we are going to make use of the um, we are going to make use of the Java 8 feature, that is the lambda expressions. So we will be using that and the thing. So first of all, let's look at the Approach2. The Approach2 is by using the anonymous inner class. Okay. So and for the anonymous inner class, what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to create main class instead of creating the implementation class. So I'm going to create a main class. Okay, main. I will say it as app. Okay. I will say it as app. Okay, this is the Approach2 main class, and let me remove unwanted things. And here directly what I'm going to do is I'm going to create C1 method directly. I'm going to create the object for the C1 class. So using this, um, So using this, I'm going to directly call this thing. But here, if you look at this thing, it's asking for the interface. Okay, if you look at this is asking for the interface. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow a trick. Remove this, remove the stuff and present it. Simply enter. So here in this brackets, we are going to do a few things. So here inside the C1 method, we need to pass the interface, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new of my interface. So interface, this is my interface. So inside it, I definitely need to have some body. My interface. You can say control space. Okay, you can say okay new of my interface, new space control my interface. So when you click on new space control space, then you're going to get my interface. So when you call the my interface, automatically we are getting the overridden methods. Okay, let me remove this semicolon. So when you do this semicolon, so let me show one more time. What I'm going to do is so this my interface is looking for an interface parameter. So what I'm going to do is so to pass interface, you can place your cursor there. So it's also looking for the it's looking for the interface. So what I'm going to do is so inside this I'm going to say new of new and then say control space. When I say control space, it's asking me different ways. So I'm going to select the my interface here. Okay. When I select the my interface, automatically it's adding by default adding the its implementation class. So it's adding the unimplemented methods. So that's what happening. So let me try. First of all, I'm going to type interface and control space. So in interface, I have the let me create. Okay. So inside this, what I'm going to do is when you click on my interface. Okay. Okay. So, so what I'm going to do is first of all I'm going to type manually and so what is the name of the interface? It's my interface, right? Interface